This video will cover the creation of a quote using the drawing tool. So first, in the quote module, select quotes and create a quote. You can also get through leads and other ways, but this is one way to generate the quote. From here, you can put in the name and the associated information. So once the basic customer information is created and you save, it will generate the quote for you. And from here, what I'd like to do first is go in and actually create the areas that I'm going to be quoting. So if we're gonna do a kitchen, and we're also going to do a master bath. And you can also add subtotals as well. So if you added a subtotal and you can move it, and for commercial quotes or something, this goes a long way if you want to isolate sinks or bathrooms from kitchens or windowsills or those sorts of things. In this case, we're not going to actually add that subtotal. So we'll hit save. And now our two areas are added. You can also just start by clicking on the drawing mode, and you can add those areas here by add area, and then same thing, you can create them here. So more than one way to do that, but that's just what I'm accustomed to. So from here, normally I'll start with the various shapes, the shape that I need. So I'm going to click on the U shape, and then also add an island for the kitchen. And on here, you can select and then tab over. So this will be a 48 by 36 island. And here, same thing. I'll reduce this size a little bit and just, go around and put in the dimensions that are needed for the job. You can work your way from left to right. That's the key here. So create your shapes and then move on to the second. Are there any bumps out or curves? On this shape, you can change angles. There's a lot of different flexibility and functionality here in this tool. One thing I will say is there's a great help desk for this module. So by clicking the help here, it's going to walk you through step by step how to create many shapes here, even circles and things like that. So there's a great help guide, and it goes for a while here, as you can see. I'm just going to scroll through quickly, but or actually I'm going to say it gets an arc. So it gets a full arc here, or even here. I can right click and delete that. And I will say in the drawing module, right click opens up all kinds of options for you in a number of different ways. So right click if in doubt on the drawing module. So now next we're going to come over and we're going to add splash. I'm going to add 4-inch backsplash to this side and this side. And then I'm actually going to pan down a little bit just so you can see that splash is there. Next, there are aprons, there are miters, there are a variety of things you can add here as well. If you add, for instance, an apron, or let's say it's kind of a waterfall leg, you can do that in this manner. Whoops. Just to give you an idea of what's happening there. I'm going to delete this apron. So next, there are undo and redo buttons. You can show inner sizes. You can add shape text. So if we say this is, and then you click in there, and kitchen perimeter as a description, you can put that anywhere you want. So as you work your way left to right, we're going to add our finished edges. So we're going to say this is going to get an OG. So I'm going to go around and select my OG. At the same time, over on this side here, it's actually calculating linear feet and square feet and everything else associated with our drawing here. So you can see that, expand that to see. We're going to add a cutout. In this case, it's going to be an undermount sink, and that's going to go here. And then we're also going to add another cutout for a cooktop, and that cooktop will go here. And then you, again, right click to change the size. It's only a 30-inch cooktop, not a 36. And then you can move it around as needed to represent what you're looking for. Okay, so we've gone through, we've added our cutouts, and next we're going to add materials. So I'm going to select material. Before I do that material though, I'm actually going to just go ahead and finish the drawing for the master bath as well. So I'm now going to click on master bath. I get a blank canvas here, and in this case, it's going to be a 96-inch long double vanity. We're going to copy that. There it goes. And so I just right-clicked, copied, and then clicked in the field again, and it allowed it to automatically paste. So now I've got our two vanities. And next, so we, essentially we're done here with this piece. That's all there is to it on the master. So next we're going to go in to select materials. So I'm going to go up here to the materials, and that's going to take us to a different popover window. You can search materials by product. You can search by price group. In this case, we're just going to search by color name. So I'm going to select absolute black, and it's telling us we've got a product that's 3cm polished absolute black, 2cm polished, or 3cm leathered. And then in this section, it's showing us at the bottom here that we have 14 materials that are in stock, and it'll show you, you could actually reserve those, a particular stock number. If the customer picked out a particular stock number, you could reserve it to the project here. But we're just going to say it's 3cm black absolute. And so now there's a couple different ways to price this. Actually, there's a lot of flexibility in here. One, notice that it's defaulting in the fabrication pricing. That's done through the price books and settings. You can always change it. So if you wanted to charge $25 instead of $20 in this for this particular customer, you could do that here, and that's per square foot. Here it's defaulting in the cost, margin, and price. Again, that's based in the price book, and it's for this absolute black. And you can also alter that. So if we want to say that this is going to be $26.50, we can do that as well here. Now, you can price this by square foot, and if you price by square foot, you have the option to select a waste factor on that, and that will inflate the actual finished parts by the amount of whatever your waste factor is, to make sure you're getting enough material and accounting for that going through production. The other thing is you can not worry about that, and you can price by slab. And if you price by slab, it's important that you put your slab sizes in. So, because the system is going to be calculating based on the cost and the margin and the price, what how much to charge or to price out this customer. So, in this case, I am selecting that I need two. I don't know that that's the case. I haven't done a layout, but that is the advantage of doing the drawing mode, is to be able to do the layout. We're going to come back to that. So you can select the size here and copy that, and it'll create a new one, or you can simply put in the quantity here, which I've done. Or you can just add a new one, and that gives you the ability to put in different dimensions if needed. So in this case, I'm going to say we need two. It's just my assumption based on the size of what we're doing. Actually, now I think about it, because we have that big island, I'm going to suggest we might need three. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and select three. One other really cool feature of Stoneapp is this waste at cost. So if you check this box, notice we have 191 square feet of actual material that we're purchasing. And once we assign the material to this, which we'll do here momentarily, it'll show us the amount of finished parts. And so the difference between the finished parts are going to be charged at the $26.50, and the remaining amount, the waste, if you will be charged at the $18. That's what this waste to cost button does. I used to have to do quite a bit of calculation in a spreadsheet to be able to determine that, and the system allows that to happen for you. You can also assign discounts and other things here as needed. So we're going to save this, and we're going to get a pop-up screen here that says, okay, here's your black absolute. We could add different material, more material if we want, and just click and go in and do the same thing, select a different material. But in this case, we have black absolute. It's showing here, it's also showing here, and it's asking which parts do we want to associate with black absolute. And if we had a different color, we could associate the island with that color or the master bath with that second color. In this case, we're going to say all of the parts are going to go on that black absolute. So we're going to hit save. And now you can see that they're here. If for some reason the customer changes their mind, and we deal with option sets in a different video, by the way. So we do have the ability to create option sets for different materials or scope of work. But here, if they indeed decided they wanted to do the kitchen in a different color, you could simply release that. I'm not going to. I'm going to just cancel out of that. But you could. Those comes over here, and then you can select your different material. So I'm going to close. And now we know that we have black absolute associated with all these parts. If I click back in the material now, and I click back here on the black absolute, now I can see I've got 67 square feet of finished parts and 124 square feet of unused material. So I'm going to close this out. And next we will save this. And we're going to go to the slab layout. And you can see that based on those slab sizes, where it's 118 by 78, we can start to lay out our parts, right? And I'm going to slide some of these out of the way. By the way, you can also click here and go and upload a picture. So if I upload an image of a slab, it's going to show that image, and we'll be able to arrange accordingly with the grain flow. And I could do the same thing here. And here. If you needed to add a seam, you could just add your vertical or diagonal or horizontal seam. So I'm going to add a horizontal seam here, and then you can cut that seam and move that piece around if you needed to line things up or to make it work. This, and this becomes our remnant here. And then here I can let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I know we only need 2, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back into our material to delete this extra slab here. So save, go here, click on material, and click back into our material to reduce that down to 2. And notice the system in this red font here is suggesting we only need 2 as well. All right, so that is done. Material is good. I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to close this out. Now the rest, so our drawing is made. All of the calculations for square feet, etc., even materials, all that stuff is here. But we can still adjust and edit this area. So notice I'm on the kitchen. I'm going to click edit the area. And we can still add things. We can add line items. So if we wanted to provide, let's say we wanted to provide brackets for that island because of the cantilever overhang there. So I will select add on item. It adds a line item here from which I can select those brackets. So I'm going to select this cabinet bracket, and again, through your price book, you can have defaults in here. I'm actually going to turn on the cost mode. Based on permissions, you can see the cost and or just the price. So depends on how your company runs their pricing model. I prefer to run it in a way that lets me understand the cost so that I can look out for the best interest of both the customer and the organization as a whole. So here we're saying we're buying these for 70, we're selling them for 100. I'm going to say I need 3 of those. So that's now been added. And then I can add another line item. I'm going to say that I need extra labor, extra help to get some of these pieces in. So I'm going to scroll down. We have a better view of this. Extra crew. So I'm going to choose an extra crew, and I'm going to say it's only going to cost me 175, but I'm going to charge 400 for that, just for the opportunity cost. And let's say that we're all finished up here. There is for those details, but there is something though that I would like to point out, and I really like the way that this works. Is you can add these customer items, and when you add customer items, it's adding this line item, and then based on your settings, you can select this and then select everything that you want to make sure is crystal clear in terms of scope of work and what to expect there with the customer. So I'm going to select these items, and then now it gives me the opportunity to say who is responsible for the plumbing. Well, in this case, we're going to pretend it's not us, it's going to be the customer responsible. Who is supplying the sink? If we were going to supply the sink, I would add a line item here, so add a sink, come right here and select from the list of sinks. I can also just type. So if I type in S419, then that line item comes up here. So I'm going to pretend it's that for right now. But let's say the customer, no, they don't want to do that. They're actually going to supply their own. So in this case, we will delete Stoneapp as the responsible party and the NA, and it's the customer. And then we could put their make and model here, whatever that might be. And then the same thing with the appliance, like the cooktop. We know that it's going to be a cooktop, so we can delete the freestanding range and the slide in, and then the make and model we would enter here once we learn that from the customer. Now we've got all of our line items outlined here. We're going to hit save, and we're going to say on the master bath, there's really nothing else to add except we do want to specify the sink. And in this case, we're going to say that we are going to supply the sinks. For that vanity. And then, one other thing I didn't specify here that we probably should is the faucet hole configuration. So that could be one of those customer items as well. So now that we've got our details in, we have the master bath created, we have the kitchen created, and now we can scroll down and get a look about how our pricing looks. So in this section here, you've got a nice summary. We've got total revenue of 6336, and that's from this number here. We actually have a sales tax on top of that in this example. Our total cost is 4262, and then our material cost is 2301. And that's because we're pricing this by slab. Even though we're doing wasted cost, we're pricing it by slab. We know we're going to end up with a remnant, but we're still charging the cost of that material of both slabs to this job. And we're at a 32% margin. Depending on what margin you want to try to hit, you might want to bump that up some. Maybe we can upsell them on some things or adjust the price accordingly. So now let's say that we're good with this. we're going to then go to our print, and we're going to select that we want to print with the drawing. We want our terms and conditions. And the most popular view we have is this area totals. We're going to select the area totals, and it's indicating, it's showing the drawing, it's specifying the edge type, and it's also showing us by area what the price is for those areas. And then the customer can sign. We do have a new easy sign feature, by the way, which covered in a different video. Customer can sign, save that, and send it back, and we are good to go. So once you have that signed document back, of course, you would upload that into Communication Hub, and you would approve the quote, and that would convert it to a job. One other thing I like to do is specify the version, just in case the customer decides they want to adjust things. Then we have a good, clear understanding of what's in this version. So this is a kitchen and a master bath, and it's in black absolute. And so we have that labeled now. And that's it. That's how to create a quote using the drawing mode.